Hey, and welcome to Hard Times Season 1, Episode 1. My name is Chris. I'm going to be co-hosting with Luke Watson, who's over on the far right-hand side. And we've got a special guest, Jordan Hard, who's going to be... Actually, yeah, that's... Oh, no, wait, it's a reverse camera.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going through a podcast series of about 6 episodes, and we're going to be looking at life according to Jordan. We're going to be sharing some stories from being in each other's company, and just how we're going to get through life together. And we've named it Hard Times after the man himself, Jordan Hard. And we hope that you're going to enjoy this. I'm just going to introduce Luke to you now. So, Luke, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, people. I'm Big Lukey Watson. I'm a legend of Millmeads.
Everyone in their own right.
Agreed. I'm part of the youth team. We're just here to discuss the big man in the middle.
Yeah. Luke, what would you say you're most famous for at Millmead? Have you got one particular thing like that?
There's a few things I'm quite famous for. One of them is just for having really long arms. The doctors are baffled.
Yeah,
it's quite phenomenal. I've got my arms are just very long. I mean, it's quite hard to believe unless you know me, but I'm actually a pretty good rapper.
He is. Yeah. Yeah, if you ever get any chances to hear some of his stuff, like it's if you're leaving the church or leaving a job, you get a Luke Watson rap, and I haven't had one yet because I haven't left. But
you haven't left, mate. You're still here. As you have had one. What are you talking about? I did one for your birthday.
That's a lie. Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah, both the missus and I got one for our birthday, which both of them were ridiculing me. I didn't quite get that, but that's
safer. Take the safer route. Just a segue. Just put the Tim Weir's one on my Instagram.
I saw that, mate. You need to get
Instagram noob. I've only joined it for the coronavirus.
Yeah. Even as soon as
I've already done a rap and put it on there.
Yeah, this is just trying to create fun content for people, just to kind of have a bit of light relief. And I feel like the man in the middle is going to bring us some light-hearted entertainment. We're going to try and keep it clean and fun, and I hope that you guys at home can laugh along. So, Jordan, tell us about yourself. For those of you at home that don't know him, this is Jordan Hard.
Hi, yeah, I'm an activity leader at CYE, ex-person of Millmead Guildford Baptist Church, and I guess a good way to describe me is just stuff. I've got a story from yesterday. Stuff just naturally occurs. That's a little bit out there and a little bit like, oh, what? How did that happen to you? And it just does, and I flow with it, and it creates some pretty amazing, fun stories.
Yeah, you're just one of those people, aren't you, George? That just silly stuff happens all the time. So
yeah, blessing and the curse.
Well, I'm looking forward to the new material. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I am as well. But I remember the first time that with Jordan, where just before you went to CYE actually, and we were trying to explain you to people at Dynamic, which was this young people's camp for younger youth. And I remember telling stories about you, and they literally thought you were a fictional character. So they thought there's no way all these things could happen to one person. And then they met you, and then they were like, "Oh, yeah,
makes sense.
That's Jordan. That's who he is."
Was it a Dynamic where you did you borrowed someone's tights and did a rhythmic gymnastic dance? Was that right?
Yeah. That was the tame thing that happened on that camp.
We won't go. Yeah, that's another story.
We won't go into that one unless, and maybe
the court case is still open for the other thing. So
yeah. So Jordan, tell us a bit more about yourself, mate. Is that Ribena again in your cup?
Yeah, it is. I've got my bottle ready for a refill.
I was going to say, why do you look like a shepherd boy? But I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't.
Yeah, but I've got an excuse because I just had my head shaved because of isolation. Whereas
Jordan, what's your excuse?
Farmer.
I'm living in the countryside by myself. It's the not topical. It's the thing to do. It makes me look like a local.
Yeah,
of course you are.
About me. Right now in this kind of time, I'm living in complete isolation by myself in a little cottage, 18th century, looking after the place I work, CYE Sailing Centre, Christian centre, taking young people on the water. yeah, I kind of, so I'm a Christian. I became a Christian when I was 15. And yeah, and then I had a lot of adventures as I kind of became a man, and a lot of the majority of them involve either Chris or Luke or a few of my other friends. And
yeah,
yeah.
I think it would be cool. Maybe we should hear some of those first stories. So, Luke, why don't you share your first experience? Oh, not your first experience, but one of the main stories from when you first met him.
Yeah, it's a little teaser taster of Jordan Hard when he first sort of he wasn't as outgoing as he is now. I wouldn't say. Would you? Would
I
you
think
agree?
he grew into it.
He grew into it, but
oh yeah,
this was early stages Jordan Hard. I'd met him once or twice, but we'd got to a point where we had taken the young people to the Chantries, which is a place in Surrey. This is where we're from. And it's how did you describe it before, Jordan?
Oh, I can't remember. Hills and forest.
Hills and forest. Yeah, very descriptive guy. We were in the hills and the forest, but it's quite a nice place. Another bald friend of ours had arranged it, and we went there to make some fires. Well, that sounded a bit weird. Not like fires in the forest, but like just like a campfire. We're talking not sort of arson.
You couldn't have made that joke
campfires, guitar, and some games. And the game that really was memorable for me was when we had two of these. Some of you might have seen them. These giant catapults for firing water balloons. And I think I said before that they're the sort of thing that you, if you're an antisocial person, you'd use to cause mischief.
Yeah.
But they're not just like a little tiny thing. You have to string them between two trees.
I've got a picture of
one person holding each end, another person pulling it back, and then it goes pow, and they can fling quite a long way. And Jordan, how big was the Chantries? Like, what did we say before?
I think like a football pitch and a half to two. Like we were at either end of the field.
Long distance
for the whole place that we'd hired. And so we kind of set it up like we'd have one group on one side of the field, another group on the other side of the field, two of these slingshots, and we were firing them at each other from long range, a bit like mortars. But
mortars, nice.
A bit like mortars, yeah. So and Jordan was this is early stages. Jordan, he was still getting to know the group, and the reason I remember it is because of our good friend Jack Weirs, who's another young person. Shout out to Jack Weirs. This is an absolute one of the best. I think this is one of the best things he's ever done.
That's it. He's completed life.
Well, I've never seen anything like it since. He, bearing in mind the distance that I spoke of was far. Jack Weirs flung a water balloon with his catapult, and at this point, I think we deciphered that me and Jordan were standing around at the other end, and I was having a kind of brief discussion with him, and Jordan wasn't really concentrating on the circumstances, and as he looked around to see what was going on, a water balloon struck him straight in the balls.
Yeah,
it was a direct hit, wasn't it, George?
It was horrendous. These cannons. I've watched a video of one denting a car. So what it did to my gentleman's region was one of devastation.
I mean, we've certainly got balls of steel, that's for sure. But just describe the pain. I mean, I remember there was a couple of things I thought that were kind of bad. One was that you got hit in the balls. The other was that it was a water balloon, and and now you just look like you wet yourself as well. So just describe your feelings at that point, Jordan. What was the kind of?
There was just no experience. There was no build up. If someone nut taps you, you see it coming and you get ready. But it was straight from talking to Luke and quite enjoying this evening, like we were spending at the Chantries, to instant pain, not knowing what had hit me. And it set my leg, and it was more one of embarrassment and like, oh, I'm actually like, that's the type of pain where you're like, I'm in quite a lot of pain, but I don't really know these people, so I don't want to show them how much pain I'm in. So I'm going to pretend and laugh at it, but in reality, I'm really
think about that. That's brilliant.
How long did it take to recover from that? Were you still in pain for a few?
Yeah, well, it kind of. I don't want to demonstrate where, obviously, where it hit.
We know we were familiar with where that is. We've all got one ourselves.
Yeah.
It managed to bruise the top of my leg as well. And yeah, it just wasn't. Yeah, it's just horrendous. Yeah.
So I think
remember
for me, like when I first came to Millmeads, in end of 2015, and Jordan, you hadn't been there long before, so I think this might even been like the month before I arrived. And I remember, so like you get that sort of like, oh, here's this person, oh, here's Jordan, oh, he's just come, he's and like there was these descriptions, and what I can only explain over the upcoming months was like an awakening. It was like seeing Jordan and other members of the group. It's not like you were the only culprit who, well, for me personally, it was just months and months of pranks. And I just remember, like, I just used to come into my office on a Tuesday morning or a Thursday morning, whatever day of the week it was, and I never knew what I was going to find or what you guys done to my office, to my desk. And bear in mind, this was a shared office, and it was only targeted at me. But John, why don't you share some of the things that you did to my desk and your justification for them?
I remember we've talked about this a little bit, but I remember the first. So right in the stage of life that I'm in now, I'd realised that this is slightly irresponsible, and I probably wouldn't do it. But at the time, this was absolutely incredible, and it was completely fair game. Because Chris was kind of this new pastor who was kind of like almost testing him out. What could he handle? How far can we go? I think that, yeah. So the first like big prank that we did, me and Tom had gone off for a drink of coffee. I don't drink hot drinks, so I had a squash or a Coke.
So just to say, who's Tom?
Oh, Tom. How do I describe him? He once held up his pants at Soul Survivor in front of everyone and had a massive skid mark on. He's this guy that is.
We went straight there.
He's a bit of
There's no subtle to it all there. Skid mark.
He's a member of the Coles family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Coles family are kind of notorious, really. They're if you're described as a Coles, you're seen as a kind of
you're a
slightly arrogant and thinks you know everything sort of person.
Yeah.
Is that right? But always takes the mick and a bit of a wind-up merchant. Coles is a wind-up merchant. Just think of a Chelsea fan, really. A typical Chelsea fan.
Yeah, so you and Tom were drinking coffee, not coffee, together. Yeah.
And then we went back to church, and I'd had this idea. We'd just done this event where we clean out loads of people's houses, like people who can't afford to have like a professional cleaner come in. Ready for action. In the back of the garden, I found a doll, and it was one of those dolls that was just unloved. It'd been in the dirt and it was destroyed. So I was like, this looks like I had the workings of a prank. And so I actually borrowed a few more of my sisters. She gave me permission to use them, have them.
So you saw it, the prank part of your brain suddenly kicked in when you saw that. You thought, here we go.
It's like a separate part of your brain. That's
another point to test Chris. I feel like it makes sense now. I'm getting a lot more insight into how your mind works.
But it's basically a lack of filter, is how I would describe it. But what happened next, Jordan, that would describe the lack of a filter?
Well, we went into Chris's office and shaved the doll's heads and tore them to pieces.
I want to pause and go back a second here. How did you get into Chris's office without Chris being in the office? We haven't covered that.
Well, we got back to church and we realised that Chris was still in the office, so we locked ourselves in the disabled toilet until we heard him leave. And then let's just clarify this. Then you were locked in. You locked yourself with Tom Coles in the disabled toilet. How long for? Half an hour.
Because I think I remember seeing you, and I spoke to you, and Tom was still hidden. I think like there was a moment of contact, and I wasn't thinking anything. I definitely didn't think that Tom was hiding in the toilet behind you.
Yeah, and well, we got into the youth office, and we started chopping up these dolls, and we started to write some notes. The notes were the thing that people like the dolls. Funny, the notes were oh, these guys might need counselling. We started to write, "You're next. We're gonna kill you.
I feel like it's
dead."
Yeah,
I feel like it's both, to be honest. Like, so just to reiterate, so you've got dolls, like children's dolls, and your thought for the prank was to hide in the disabled toilet with Tom Coles until Chris left the office, and then to cut them up, leaving messages. What was in the messages, Jordan?
You're next. Drop down dead. We're gonna kill you. Stuff like that.
So did it ever occur to you that you'd gone further than funny
acceptable.
there?
Yeah.
No,
at what point did you realise?
Only when the women of the office started going, these guys need help. Like, you need to sort them out.
Yeah, and they did. Like, I remember coming in the next day, and my desk was just covered in hair. Like for like weeks, literally, I was finding hair like in folders, in the keep. It was just absolutely everywhere. And there were the two girls in the office. I remember them looking at me. Chris, this is not okay. This is not okay. They wouldn't do it to Ian. Why are they doing it to you? It shouldn't happen. In other words, they said they need to respect you, Chris. And I was thinking,
your authority.
Yeah. What have I done to not be respected?
The onus was on Chris to address this, and also to kind of question your state of mind.
Bearing in mind, this is a couple of months into me starting a job with like hundreds of kids who are just, very, very individual at times. And Jordan was their ringleader. And it was spurred on every young
It didn't take him long to assume that role.
No, he didn't. No, yeah. He and I think he still lives in that space, doesn't he? Like just thinking what happens over the next couple of months and everything that you get up to. I mean, like we've got a series of stories from, one episode. I think we'll just talk about what's happened at the catch poles, stuff that's happened just to see why.
We've got to go through the prank situation, I guess.
Yeah. We've got kind of
talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
I was thinking about the Luke prank, like my big not initiation, but the one where I was like, I'm gonna get Luke, and I moved.
I mean, there were many ones. There's quite a few of those. There is quite a few of those.
Yeah, which one?
I can think of two particularly big ones that I was peeved off about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Should we talk about them?
Yeah, let's go for that, man. Come on,
let's go straight into that. Yeah. Which one do you want to talk about, George?
Soul Survivor. Shall I explain? I think a lot of the people know what it is, but it's a big Christian festival.
Yeah.
And everyone camps, and Millmead Baptist Church. Chris took us. Were you there, Chris? Yeah, you were. You were.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
First one with Millmead, I think.
It was the last one at Shepton Mallet, so it was like the big Siebel one.
Was that when you did this to me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we all went away. We were all camping in this field, and Johnny White's a bit of an influence on me, and
there's a whole episode on Johnny White.
He's one of those behind the scenes guys. He'll push Jordan to do the silly stuff, and then stand back and watch.
Prank. Yeah. He's a fire starter. So.
Yeah, and he'd recommended doing this. So everyone else was at a seminar, and I think it was me, Danny, and Jack Weirs were left. And I went to him, and I was like, "Let's get Luke's tent. Luke's in a seminar. Let's get his tent." So we did just that, and we moved it 2 campsites up. So not that far, but it was pretty well hidden in amongst some other tents.
Yeah, let's just bear in mind that in my tent was all of my stuff.
Yeah.
That I had everything that I had was in that tent. Right? Yeah. Carry on. So you've moved my tent.
Yeah.
And then we went back to the campsite to wait for the payoff. The big, where's my tent? And then we'd be like, it's just up there. And we'd all laugh.
Okay, so what actually happened then, George?
What actually happened?
Well, Luke came back. Came back. Do you want to explain this next little bit, and then I'll take back? I
can't remember what I did. I think I came back and obviously realised that my tent was gone.
Yeah.
And I instantly thought Jordan Hard.
Yeah.
Because that's the natural assumption. And to be fair, though, let's just give a bit of context. You had been pranking me constantly that week. Like, with other little things. Like,
it was
I
like
think there was one time I turned up and my tent was full of chairs, like camping chairs. There was a couple of times when you'd actually zip tied it shut. And one of my favourite times was when you zip tied it shut, and I got back at night and it was shut and I couldn't get in. So I had to get one of Dan James's wire cutters or something. I don't know why. Why did Dan James have wire cutters at Soul Survivor? I don't know. But he did. So I went to his tent to get them, cut them off, went back, and then you and Johnny tried to re-cable tie my tent again. And your plan, which this is quite funny actually, your plan was for Johnny to do it and you to keep watch of me. And then when I came around the corner, what were you going to do, Jordan? Just like rugby tackle me or stop me, or what was your plan?
Something along, like shout at you, make you stop, and just to give Johnny that little bit of
me in some way. So then it'd be funny because then you do it again, and I'd just given the cable cutters back. Anyway, what actually happened was I went to give the cable cutters back. I came back, right, and this is my perspective. And maybe Jordan can give his after mine. But I came around the corner and found Jordan lying on the floor, rolling around in pain, holding his hip, just like going, oh! And then he went, Johnny, run. And then I saw a shadow sort of move away. And I was thinking, what are you doing? So just describe what happened, George, from your perspective.
I was having a wee on Tim Wiss's caravan.
I didn't know this bit. That is horrible. So that you were in the middle of pranking me for a second time, and you're also urinating on Tim Wiss's caravan.
I needed a wee.
It was.
Sorry. My apologies. That's very reasonable. You needed a wee.
There we go.
Anyways,
there was a toilet there.
I was still keeping lookout, and then I saw you coming, and as I tried to run away and zip up to like, distract you and give Johnny that time, I fell over and managed to land on the only rock in the field onto my hip and backside. So much so it's like shooting pain. I was just on the floor, just Johnny, run!
Yeah, that's what I saw. It was probably funny. It was just like, what is going on?
Yeah. John, you got to finish off the tent story.
Let's finish off the current one. So yeah, there was a lot of pranks. So I knew when I got and saw my tent missing, I knew, okay, I kind of was expecting some form of prank at this stage, a bit like you, Chris. And so I said, okay, where's Jordan? I don't think I reacted too strongly. I just looked and thought, oh, here we go. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jordan materialized and he said, okay, let's go find your tent. So he took me off to find my tent, and we got to where he'd left my tent, and he sort of went really quiet and sort of stood there with his hand, I think, on his head, looking round. And I was like, "What's going on, Jordan?" And he's like, I thought I left it here." And I was like, "Jordan, this tent has got all my stuff in it. Where did you put my tent?" And he started asking people. He started asking random people where my tent was. And there was another tent that looked like mine in this campsite as well, I think I remember rightly. And you actually went in it, and it was someone else's tent. Anyway, it turned out that the place that he'd moved my tent to, the other people there had moved it again.
Oh,
no. I was probably pissed off at this point. This is probably there was two that really irked me, and this was one of them. And Jordan could tell and was frantically looking around for my tent. Anyway, we did eventually find it, didn't we? I can't remember they'd moved it to like another field.
Oh, yeah.
We ended up looking like we went to the car park and we started looking up pine trees.
Yeah, you started looking up in the trees.
I was like, maybe it's that trees.
We were there, like, looking through the tops of the trees. Like, I was like, "What are you doing? Did you put up a tree?"
Okay, well,
there's many more of those. There's another one that's quite significant.
Yeah,
I don't know the other one.
We'll have to do that, guys.
Think naturally supernatural.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll save that one.
You definitely know the other one.
We'll save that. Yeah, I was there when I got back and saw the face. That one, that was a step too far. That one. We'll cover that one next week. Okay, thank you guys for listening. This has been Hard Times, Season 1, Episode 1. We'll see you next week.
Wait. Are we not doing the extract from the book?
Oh yeah, extract from the book. Yes, yeah, we'll make time for that. Go for it, Jordan.
It's got to be half an hour. So just to say, Jordan's got a book.
Yeah, Jordan wrote a book.
Jordan's written a book. What's your book called, Jordan?
The Pub That Saved My Life.
The Pub That Saved Your Life.
Can you tell us about your book?
Yeah, so it's a story. It's not a story. It's fiction, non-fiction. I don't know. It's a book.
It's fiction / non-fiction. Is that what you said?
Real. It's all real. It's me.
It's a metaphor.
So it's non-fiction.
So it's a story about my relationship with
drinking.
A guy I call my brother Joel. And we had this friendship and it built up, and eventually we went to this pub. I'm not going to tell you the name of the pub, but it's perfect and it's us, and it's like, it's not your pub, it's our pub, and it's brilliant. So much so that I had to write a book about the pub and about everything surrounding that and what does brotherhood look like and why you should care. But yeah, and it's going to be, I think I'm going to make it free and send out some copies to people. So you might even get, like, if you're listening to this, drop me a message.
If you're a lucky soul, you might get one. And I think you described it before when we were talking to you as I asked you what sort of emotions does it conjure, and you said it will make us want to give you money. Is that right? That was your words, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do each podcast, I think, Chris.
Yeah, this is right, mate. Yeah.
We're going to read an extract from the book.
Yeah. So Jordan,
last time we tried to record this and we got it all wrong, and Jordan actually forgot to bring the book.
Yeah.
But this time he's got it on a Word document.
Yeah.
So why don't you read us an extract from your book, George, and we'll sit here and listen and absorb.
Oh no, Jordan. Hello?
What? You there?
You're there, mate. Kit.
Oh.
Has isolation got to you? What's going on?
Yes, I can, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, wait, you can see me and hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can see you and hear you still. Our perspective is just you looking confused and shouting.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, just read your extract.
Read the extract. Yeah.
I can't hear you. We're going to go for it. Every few weeks or so, me and Joel do what this book is about and go to the pub. This is the heart of the book, the nitty-gritty. The pub is magical. We never have an agenda, but we trust each other enough just to speak freely. There's often the question that comes up a few times, like, what's on your mind? What have you thought about the most this week? Genuinely, one of my favorite things is to ask Joel, and we just get excited about setting targets for the future. And some of these chats, like the book is based on like conversations we've had with each other. Yeah, and I've lied to you because this book isn't about the pub. It is about this brotherhood and what this brotherhood looks like. Yeah, and there have been times at CYE when no one else is around, usually at night, and I'm in a bad place. I don't feel like I can trust anyone, not even my own brother. It's not that slick, is it? But there's more to it. I'll read the next little bit.
I actually couldn't tell if you were reading or if you were just collecting your thoughts.
Yeah.
No, that was reading, but
that was
also
a red piece. Okay, well,
not being able to hear anything and panicked reading. So next week I'll read that extract again.
Yeah.
The next bit.
No, don't read that one again. Read a different one.
I can't hear anyone right now.
Please,
Luke, do you think that I should read the extract from the message that Jordan sent me after he got sunburnt next week?
I think at some point we definitely need to do that. Yeah, that's a good extract.
It'll be the best impersonation. I'll work on that because that is such a brilliant story.
Yeah, that's the story to focus on next week. Yeah. That's a great one. We got a lot of things to say. It's probably too much to say in 6 episodes.
Yeah. Right, we'll finish there. Thank you for listening to Hard Times, Season 1, Episode 1. Have a good week, guys. See ya.
Ta.
See ya.